Hello and welcome. This is Rooflemonger, and my friends, in today's video, we're going to be talking about some sillier mechanics of fighting game past. We recently made a video on the channel about the worst fighting game mechanics of all time, and this isn't that. They're not great, don't get me wrong, they're not great, but fighting games were younger back then. This was the 90s, we didn't have it all figured out just yet. Some of these just needed a little bit more time in the oven, basically, and then became like some mechanics you might know and love. And others, well, they're gone to the dustbin of history. Sometimes what seems like a good idea on paper doesn't always work out in the end. So for the first of these, we're going to go to the land of Darkstalkers. Darkstalkers is one of the most important fighting game franchises ever. Like, not only is the game really good, all the games are really good, especially Vampire Savior, but so many core fighting game mechanics kind of got invented here. Do you like EX moves? Cool idea? Hey, thank Darkstalkers for that, along with many other mechanics. And today, specifically, we're going to be talking about Pushback. Now, you may remember Pushback from like many versus games, right? It's a way to make a very crazy style of game sustainable, as it's a get off me kind of button. And that did exist in Darkstalkers, although the way it existed was more than a bit different. So you can see here, Morgan's attacking me, I'm going to block. And, from this block, I'm going to push block. There's a dark secret about it, though, in this game. So there we go, we see the push block, right? It says tech hit when we do a successful push block in this game. The dark secret about this, though, is it's incredibly difficult to do. So, like, other games, you gotta hit buttons, right? Sure, you gotta hit buttons, that makes sense. So here we are now, I have my inputs turned on so you can see all my various button presses, right? And here's the dark secret about push block in the game, is it's dependent on how many button presses you have during block stun, and it's very finicky, as you can see here, and I'm long out of practice myself here. So you have to press as many buttons as you can in a certain amount of time frame, the block stun specifically, and then if you succeed, it'll give you the push block. The thing is, though, you can see me hitting hell of buttons while I'm doing this, right? And it's not always going to come out, because I have a low chance, because I'm bad at this and it's been a long time, because it's based off the amount of inputs during the push block up to, other than a maximum amount, a random chance you'll even get it. So specifically, the science behind this is, if during that window you only have 1 or 2 button presses, you'll never, ever get a push block. Ever. If you get 3 presses in the window, you have a 25%, it's a dice roll. You have a 25% chance. So if you mash and you only get 3 inputs during that time, and no, it counts inputs separately, so you hitting like 3 buttons in the same frame doesn't count. So if you get 3 inputs in that time, it's a 25% chance. 4 inputs in that time, it's a 50% chance. 5 inputs in that time window, 75% chance. And if you get 6 unique button presses in that window, then it's a guaranteed happening thing, right? So yeah, needless to say, it's a bit overly complicated, right? When this became more standard in other games like Marvel vs. Capcom, there was not a dice roll or requirement, attached to it. You just hit your button and you're good to go. You push block them out. And that, so yeah, sort of different, right? This is even like more modern games, like 2XKO is going to have push block as well, right? But here where it kind of really first showed up, at least as far as I know, in Darkstalkers, it was a speed mini game depending on how many buttons you pressed. And it was also a random chance on top of that, unless you got 6 unique inputs within that very short window. So it's quite a thing. We don't do things that way anymore. And just to bring it up, just because we got QB on screen, nothing to do with the video, but I love this move. She like puts her baby in you, then dies, and then you get cocooned, and then the new one comes out. That's one of the weirdest moves ever. QB's such a cool character. If they ever bring Darkstalkers back, I definitely want QB back, because she is so cool. Now, next up, let's go to everyone's favorite indie title, Street Fighter. And for this, we're going to talk about one-frame links and one-frame maneuvers. The concept of one-framers was always quite divisive, right? That looks like a super basic combo. And in Street Fighter terms, it absolutely is as about as basic as you can get. And yet that combo contained a one-frame link. The crouch light kick into the crouch medium punch, is a one-frame link combo. You can see here, I just dropped it, right? It took me a lot of years, Rose is one of my main Street Fighter 4, to get anywhere comfortable with that, right? And people didn't like that stuff. And eventually, it kind of got fixed, if you will. So eventually combos evolved away from one-frame links. Because a lot of people hated that stuff. Like, to be frank, people hated that stuff in the Street Fighter 4 days where we got the big surge of popularity again, fighting games, right? So what they did in Street Fighter 5 and Street Fighter 6 and what other fighting games already had is the concept of an input buffer. So even though if the move is still a one-frame link, in the context of what the game's frame data says, you could do a move, and because you have a frame buffer, when you're hitting your various buttons, you could do whatever given move, and you could hit it a bit early and it'll store the input in the game's buffer, and thus your one frame link, if like using Street Fighter 6, I believe it's a 3-frame buffer, so your one frame link's actually only a 3-frame link, right? Still, you know, you can't sleep on it, but it leaves us without some technical marvels of like a billion one-frame link combos, like say that one famous Daigo Evil Ryu combo. Can't do that no more. But that's just one aspect of it, right? People say, you know, like Street Fighter 4 days, one-frame links, whatever. That's not the annoying one-frame stuff to me. Well, it was annoying, but there's even more annoying one-frame stuff. Let's go back all the way to Street Fighter 2, and let's give you the most simple concept in the world. You get knocked down, and you want to do your wake-up uppercut. So here we are, right? Sagat knocks me down, and then, you know, when I get up, I'm like, I'm going to scream in his face, or you can, because, you know, mashing reversal is one of the core tenets to our beliefs as a fighting game player, right? The thing is, this was also one-frame timing. You had a singular frame to correctly do this, or you didn't get the reversal. So right there, it'll say reversal attack when you correctly do it, right? So we, as gamers, once we understood how the rules worked, we had to bypass this one-frame mechanic. So here we are. We got our input display on the side so you can see my button presses, right? So when I want to do a reversal, specifically from getting knocked down, like right there, that wasn't a reversal. Didn't say reversal on the, you know, the little thing didn't pop up. That is not a reversal. So if the opponent did like a meaty or whatever, I would have got stuffed. And meaties, consequently, are a very important part of Street Fighter 2. But so what we had to do is just like we talked about the Darkstalkers, right? Even that wasn't a reversal. But we had to piano the inputs. So you would run your fingers from like light, medium, heavy, but not on the same frame, and have them on different frames and hope one of those three would be the right frame. And if you happen to get it on the right frame, then you would get reversed. I don't know which one of those it was. It was one of those three. I don't know, but it was one of those three, but I got it, and that's great. But back in the day, that is exactly what we had to work with. Like, that was reversal. I got the wrong input because I mashed, and so it wouldn't have been invincible, but that's kind of the idea, right? You had to do that and just kind of hope and kind of roll the dice. You know, nowadays, you kind of just mash your DP. Lord knows you don't gotta be too accurate about it, and then just hit your button that you're gonna hit, and you'll get your wake up dragon punch, your wake up flash kick, your wake up whatever. It's not that strict. You got some frames to do it in. In Street Fighter 2, you had exactly one singular frame to do a wake up reversal, and if you didn't get it, tough luck. And we don't do things like that no more. In fact, early on in Street Fighter 6's life, even though it's so much more generous than old games, they even widened the reversal window because it was considered too strict in the game's early life. I think it was like 6 frames and they buffed it from there. I can't remember exactly, but so yeah, things used to be a lot harder, and you would argue needlessly back in the day, but it was only done because we didn't know any better. There was nothing else to compare against. It wasn't decades of these games to work with yet, right? Now, moving on to the King of Fighters. Long storied franchise, one of the most legendary gaming franchises, period. Invented a lot of mechanics, and invented other games in a lot of ways, because games like Smash Brothers would not exist without the King of Fighters. A lot of ideas that are in KOF went to Smash, although not this one. This one kind of came and went, and that is the power of relationships. So on this channel, we love fighting game story, we love fighting game lore. I've got so many videos about just everything fighting game and story. But what if there was a tangible benefit from picking two lore-accurate characters, like characters that actually deal with each other? Or, perhaps even worse, what if there's a strict penalty for picking two characters that actually hate each other's guts? Well, that's exactly how the King of Fighters 97 and the earlier versions of King of Fighters 98 work. So there is a straight up relationship system in this game. You can be one of three things: neutral, positive, like the person loves or is a friend with the other character, or hates the other character. And this has tangible, actual gameplay benefits or penalties depending on your team and your team building. So let's look at it this way here. So we have our example team. I'm going to start with Terry Bogard. And my team is basically going to be Terry, Andy, and Joe. And well, Terry loves Andy. It's his brother, right? So when Terry is defeated, I'm going to get a bonus. Notice here, Terry has a singular stock. And when it's going to switch to Andy, he's next up, because they have a positive relationship bonus, I'm going to get a bonus stock, effectively a bonus meter. That's kind of a big deal because, you know, KOF very big on the meter, right? So yeah, now I start with 2 because I had a positive bonus. And fun, sad fact, so Terry has a positive bonus with Andy. If Andy's next up, he does not have it with Joe, but Joe has it with Terry. So Joe likes Terry a lot more than Terry likes Joe. Make of that what you will. Now I just defeated the enemy. So Shingo died with a singular stock, right? Athena's up next. They're completely neutral with each other. So you'll just get the singular stock. You don't keep the progress round to round in KOF 97. But Athena's up next, and that's it. That's all single stock because they're neutral. Okay, fine. That works the way you would think it would work. Now look at this scenario. I have 2 stocks now, right? And my next up is Billy Kane. I'm Terry again. Terry and Billy hate each other's guts. So not only am I not going to get a bonus, once again, I have 2 stocks, 2 bars now, right? And what's going to happen the next round when Billy comes in? Billy, he's like, this MFer, screw Terry. I don't need anything he's got, including his meter. And what? We're not even going to lose a stock. We're going to lose all of our meter because they're rivals. All of our meter. So all the meter you just had, you just built up. You don't even get to get it because you picked 2 lore incompatible characters. Yes, the game actually works that way. Like Rio has 1 stock right now, right? Robert's up next, so it's neutral. But if King came in next, Rio loves King, so you would have got an extra meter instead. How about this example? So Kim died with 2 bars, and Choi is up next. And here's the extra fun thing. So Choi hates Kim's gut, so does Chang. And so you're going to come in with exactly 0 bars now. Kim, Chang, and Choi are an official team together. They are like, they're bunched together and they hate each other's guts. So like, if you were like, I'm going to play Team Korea as one, you know, like actual team together, you're going to be penalized in this game for it. So this mechanic exists in KOF 97 and 98, although not later versions of 98 like Ultimate Match. But yeah, so this is a game, or a pair of games, where it pays to know the lore. Because if you pick 2 characters that don't like each other, there's going to be dire consequences. Like picking 2 characters that like each other, you get an extra stock. That's nice. But losing all your meter on a character switch because the 2 characters don't care for each other, that's not great. Now, next up, we're going into the dregs. This is called Time Killers. And Time Killers was not a good game. It's a product of the early 90s and the Mortal Kombat craze when everyone was trying to copy Mortal Kombat. And thus hyper violence and blood was just it was just how it was done. The one thing I'll give it is it did Tekken before Tekken did. So each limb is its own corresponding button. And there's 5 buttons, in fact, because there's a button dedicated to basically headbutting the enemy. So left arm, left leg, right leg, and your head. So a 5-button game. So there you go. So you could say it wasn't just Virtua Fighter that Tekken 1 ripped off, because Time Killers did the Tekken limb notation before Tekken ever did it. And Time Killers, once again, this is not a good game. You have not heard of this game for a reason. If you know anything about this game, you probably know this character because he keeps shouting, Excalibur! 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 This was like the loudest cabinet in my arcade, and that is burned in my brain forever. But you know, I had to notice right here, right? One of his arms actually flew off. And that, unfortunately, is a core gameplay mechanic. Once again, a product of the extreme 90s. But yeah, you can knock off other people's limbs and stuff. And it affected the gameplay. Because if you lost that arm, you can't use that button anymore. And since this is a weapon-based fighter, which I don't even like calling it that because that gives it like too much credit almost. You can lose your weapon arm too. Like if you lose your jab arm, whatever. But if you lose your weapon arm, you're done. Like you literally can't press buttons anymore. You can kick. And like Thrug can like spit, and you do get an armless win if you win without your arms. It's the equivalent of like a flawless victory, I guess. But yeah, that's like an actual deal that you can lose buttons based off a random button press. So suffice to say, this wasn't a terribly competitive game, right? You can just randomly lose your weapon arm, and then that's basically game over, and you just got to struggle it out. And spoiler, I had to emulate this, obviously, right? I did not realize a dark truth about this game is that it defaults to 2 quarters. That's 2 plays of Street Fighter, right? Or Mortal Kombat. Do you want to do that, or do you want to play this mashy garbage? Well, to be fair, some people still played it for the mashy garbage, right? Because this wasn't the era of esports. We wanted blood and guts. And you could dizzy people, and you could instant kill somebody if they were dizzied in this game by taking their head off with your all-button attack. And I don't know, that when we were kids, that was enough sometimes, like we weren't looking for the most highly technical games. But there you have it. Those are some old fighting game mechanics that may be interesting, maybe not, but definitely aren't coming back. You're not going to see this in Street Fighter 7. Like what serious competitive game would allow you to randomly lose your move set off like a button press? Oh no. Oh, no. Oh, no. But there you have it. Maybe the relationship system will show up in Marvel Tokon. Don't put Captain America and Iron Man on the same team. They hate each other sometimes. But other than all that, that is the video. So thank you very much for watching. Hope this video has found you well, and go out and play some fighting games.